Hello, my name is Christine Clark, and today we will be talking about the learning styles of the NET generation. The NET generation is the generation of students who are digital natives or those who have been interacting with technology all of their lives. This is a generation that has been playing video games since they were old enough to hold a controller. They haven't experienced a world without computers, the internet, or cell phones. As you can see from the picture, they are multitaskers. They can handle watching TV, listening to their iPods, working in 2 or 3 applications at a time for homework, talking on the phone, and instant messaging friends all at the same time. Their world is different from the previous generations. Due to this, they also learn differently from the previous generations. In this presentation, we will talk about those different learning styles, how they compare to the previous generations, what the experts are telling us, find ways to teach them effectively, and why it is important. The NET generation has learning styles that are very different from the learning styles of past generations. Because of their total immersion in technology from their earliest years, they need to be taught in ways that make sense to them. These styles include interaction, exploration, relevancy, multimedia, and instruction. This generation has been playing games with their friends for years. Through these games, they have learned to work together to solve problems. They have created their own set of rules and determined how to go about getting through the various levels of the game. Therefore, it is not unexpected that they want to learn the same way in school. They want and need interaction with their peers in order to find answers to solve problems and digest knowledge. They also want to learn on their own terms. It is not enough to make them regurgitate the knowledge that we are giving them. They want to work it out for themselves. In their games, new computer programs, and other technologies that they use trial and error to figure things out. This is what they are used to. It works for them. It only makes sense that they want to learn the same way. In this new and ever-changing world in which we live, students today need to know that what they are learning in school has real-world application. As educators, it is not enough to tell them that they must learn something because we said so. They need to know that what we are teaching them has relevancy to their lives, present or future. They ask questions about why they need to know, and we need to answer them. The assignments we give them must incorporate skills they will need, and they need to be aware of this also. Another skill that today's generation has acquired is the ability to multitask. They are constantly exposed to multimedia applications. They can do homework while listening to music, talking on the phone, and chatting with friends via instant messaging. Their lives are constantly moving. Is it no wonder that they can't sit still while listening to an hour-long lecture? They need to have multiple sources of stimulation in a classroom in order to gain the most knowledge. This does not mean that we need to jump up and down, juggle 3 pieces of chalk, and stand on our heads to reach them. But it does mean that we need to make use of the multimedia technology that is available to us. We need to make our lessons more like their lives. Believe it or not, students still want and need instruction. Sometimes it feels like we, as educators, are going to be replaced by all this new technology. This is not the case. Students still need someone to show, and I stress show, them the way. They still need someone to help them with the basics. The trick is to teach them while being facilitators instead of the boss. We have to learn to guide them while they interact and explore instead of lecturing them and then giving them paper and pencil assignments. Just as we learned how to work with visual, oral, and kinesthetic styles, now we have to learn how to work with the styles of this NET generation. To truly understand the differences in the generation's learning styles, let's compare the Boomer generation's classroom to what should be the NET generation's classroom. The classroom setting that most of the previous generations worked in was very similar to the picture on the left. The desks sat in rows neatly spaced with the teacher's desk in front or slightly to the side. The learning that took place in the Boomer generation was teacher-controlled. The teacher presented the material. The students were expected to listen carefully and take notes on the material if necessary. The teachers then gave worksheets to be filled out individually. The learning continued with more drill and practice. Remember the lists of spelling words and math facts? This drill and practice led to memorization of facts. While this style works for short-term knowledge, unless the knowledge is used in real-life situation, the knowledge is not retained. If you compare the two pictures, you will see very different styles of classroom settings. Today's classrooms should look more like the picture on the right. As you can see, the students are working together using technology on projects where they are learning through interaction, exploration, relevancy, and yet still with teacher instruction. There have been many articles written and studies done that show over and over that students learn better using the styles that reflect the way they do things outside of school. The number of households where students have access to computers and the internet have more than doubled since 1996. During that same time period, those households have had a decline in the number of hours that students watch television. Students have taken control of the critical elements of communication and how they acquire knowledge. They are no longer content to just view what is broadcast. They question information and they want to be able to search out the answers for themselves. They think nothing of comparing and contrasting what they are finding at the click of a button in order to search out the truth. This carries over to the classroom as well. The graph on the left is the results of a poll that show that students do want teachers who have expertise and experience in their field. They feel that this was of the utmost importance. They also felt that being able to effectively use the technology and to customize their learning experience was equally important. The graph on the right is the results of a poll that show how students want a lesson designed. The results were overwhelming. They want the teacher to convey their knowledge and expertise, but they also want interaction in order to acquire this knowledge in ways that work for them. Now that you know what the Net Generation styles are, the next logical question is, how do we work with these learning styles? Seymour Papert, a renowned expert on children and computing, feels that educators should throw out the idea of curriculum and work solely with the project-based learning. This means starting with a project and learning the basics as they go. Even though there are schools that have indeed done this and have been successful, this idea is probably a little extreme for most educators. A good compromise is to incorporate these styles into the curriculum that already exists. However, instead of using the textbook or drill and practice, use their styles. Find a web quest that meets your curriculum needs. Let them interact in peer groups to find the answers. Working together is not cheating in their world. It is combining their skills to solve a problem or a puzzle. Let them use the internet to explore a subject. Use blogs for journaling. Use wikis for collaborative writing. Have them create PowerPoint presentations incorporating their own artwork or songs to teach the class about a subject. There are so many ways that these styles can be integrated. Be creative. Don't be afraid to ask them. They have better ideas than we do sometimes when it comes to multimedia. They will thank you for it. And don't forget, they do want your expertise and experience. They still need your help in learning. You just need to become a facilitator instead of the boss. Rethinking the way we teach is an important topic in the world of education. The phrase "no child left behind" has become a common thread in the past few years. It's based on the need to make sure that no child falls through the cracks of education. If we want to reach our students and create a generation that will become productive adults, we have to move forward and find ways to teach them that will accommodate their styles of learning. An additional phrase should be "no teacher left behind." Teachers will be left behind if they don't learn to integrate the Net Generation's learning styles into the existing curriculum. We need to be pioneers and forge a new trail for others to follow. As educators, we consider ourselves to be lifelong learners. This is just another path on our road to learning. Remember, interaction, exploration, relevancy, multimedia, and instruction are the puzzle pieces that create the building blocks of the future.